Now at 6, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Well, good evening, and thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Bridget Bjorlo. Glad you're with us tonight. More than a year and a half after a teen was severely injured in a hit and run, John Egan, the man charged in this incident, learned his fate today.
Fox 61's Jamel Johnson has more from Waterbury's Superior Court.
Now, guys, it was an emotional day in court as Brian Kaye and his family sat while a judge sentenced John Egan. Now, police say John Egan, who was the former chair of the city zoning commission, actually went out and got about 16 drinks from different bars in the area. And then that was over the course of a 10-hour period. And then he made the decision to get on the road and drive, a decision that will put his life at risk as well as Brian's.
He was only 17 years of age.
Nearly 2 years after a hit and run nearly killed him, Brian Kaye watched from his wheelchair with his family by his side as a judge sentenced the man police say was behind the wheel.
It also hurts me that this man has to go to jail, but he left my son abandoned in the street.
Egan's alleged actions back in May of 2023 would leave the 17-year-old on life support for several months. His road to recovery has not been easy.
We have to care for my son 24 hours a day in order to be able to help him.
Para levantarlo, para bañarlo, para darle de comer.
Egan pleaded no contest to the charges against him, which left his fate in the hands of a judge.
The defendant here, Mr. Egan, took a plea.
It's a disturbing turn of events for a former city government official.
The defendant sustained a brain bleed, multiple skull fractures, a subdural hematoma, liver lacerations, and various contusions. He'll need 24/7 care for the rest of his life. And according to the complainant's family, their statement of the PSI, quote, "It's almost worse than death. And it's caused a serious emotional toll on their family."
With the evidence presented against him, Egan and his team attempted to bring to light his important role in the community and all the people he has helped. They wanted to make it clear that the mistake he made was an isolated incident. Facing the possibility of leaving the courtroom in handcuffs, Egan's attorney argued for a fully suspended sentence and house arrest term along with community service. But despite their best efforts, the judge ruled in favor of jail time.
I do think a jail sentence is appropriate as far as a punishment. Having said all of that, it's the sentence of this court you be committed to the custody of the Commissioner of Corrections for 10 years, suspended after 2 years in jail, 5 years probation, 100 hours of community service, and no contact with the complainant or his family.
The Kaye family was asked what their thoughts were on the sentencing.
He says that the moment just being here and having his child, who once was believed to not make it, and him being present, he's already at peace.
Now, Brian himself has been making significant improvements in his recovery, and Segundo, his father, said that he hopes the next time he speaks to media, his son will be able to walk. In Waterbury, Jamel Johnson, Fox 61 News.
All right, Jamel, thank you. New details tonight. The Bridgeport man accused of killing his daughter was found incompetent of standing trial. In court today, a judge recommended Dave Kirkland, the man you see right here on your screen, spend 60 days at Whiting Forensic Hospital before returning to the courtroom in March. Kirkland faces murder charges in connection to the death of his own baby girl. The baby was found dead in a bathtub at the Mayflower Hotel in Milford back in August. And turning now to the forecast, it was another really cold day outside, and the wind is only adding to the chill.
Yeah, that's right. Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frame joining us now with more. Rach.
Yeah, we need to settle into this weather pattern too, because that chill and that wind are not going anywhere as we head through at least the next couple of days. But it's winter. This is what you expect, right? Taking a look at winds, we see them gusting anywhere between 30 up to 40 miles an hour. And while the wind will come down a little bit as we head through the overnight hours, I actually think it picks right back up again as we head through midday tomorrow. So again, like I mentioned before, settle in to this weather pattern. A wind advisory in effect for northern Litchfield County, and that goes until 1 a.m. on Thursday morning. That's where there could be some isolated outages with gusts to 40+ miles an hour. Elsewhere, I don't think outages are at play, but the wind is certainly making things feel cooler. Right now, we've got temperatures in in the mid-20s rather to right around 30 degrees. But here's what it feels like to exposed skin, because all of that wind is whisking any warmth away from your body. So it feels like just 14 in Hartford and Waterbury, like 7 is what it feels like in Torrington. Overnight lows will dip back between about 15 to 20 degrees as we head towards daybreak tomorrow. Tomorrow, lots of sunshine, blustery and cold, highs in the 20s, but dress for wind chills near 0 for tomorrow morning. We'll talk about the chance for some snow as we head into this weekend, with the new information coming in is suggesting coming up.
Rachel, thank you. New video tonight shows flames at a home in North Haven. It happened just before 11 last night at a home on Rimmon Road. Officials say the cold and windy conditions made it difficult to put out the fire. The one person inside the home was able to get out safely. No injuries were reported. United Illuminating responded to the scene to deal with arching wires in the front yard.
New crime statistics are out in New Haven. The city reports violent crime is down 26% in the Elm City over a 5-year period, but property crime is telling a different story. In 2023, New Haven police responded to 23 homicides, but just 1 year later, they reported 14. So that's a considerable drop. But as we noted, property crime continues to trend upward. Take auto theft, for instance. That jumped 43% in just the last few years.
To measure safety in any city, look at the numbers. And end-of-year crime statistics in New Haven have leaders hopeful they're on the right track.
While we're making a lot of progress, we clearly have a lot more work to do.
The rate of violent crime fell overall. Homicides are down 30% since 2020. Armed assaults also dropped nearly 26%.
We went to 9 less funerals this year. 9 less people had to die in this city. That's important. And I want to go to less funerals next year.
Law enforcement and city officials say the improvements reflect a crime prevention and enforcement strategy that's working.
It is a process, but I would say that if you looked over a 10-year period, we're definitely on the increase in solvability. We're moving in a better direction. And even things like people talking to us. We're getting more people cooperating, and that's hugely important.
But a closer glimpse at the incident count paints a different picture. Felony sexual assault saw a 36% jump from 4 years ago. Most property crime also rose. Reports of burglary went from 401 in 2023 to 475 in 2024. And motor vehicle theft, while down slightly year over year, soared 43% since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic.
When you look at the overall trend, they're still up, and we're working very hard. We've created a regional task force to help address some of the motor vehicle thefts.
But just this past weekend, New Haven police responded to 30 car break-ins in the area of Howard Avenue and Asylum Street to kick off the new year, to which leaders had this to say.
We are working on that. We're putting some extra presence in the city, throughout the whole city, and we also have our RTC analysts looking through camera footage over the last few days and weeks.
New Haven is in the process of installing hundreds of red light and speed cameras to help with traffic enforcement and solving crime. Mayor Elliker says the city plans to install 500 in total and have so far installed 312.
Well, new tonight, a $5,000 reward is being offered for information about a cat that was found frozen to death in Bristol. Animal advocates with Desmond's Army say the orange tabby was found dead in a black and blue crate near Rockwell Park the weekend of December 28th. Anyone with any information on what happened to that cat should call Bristol Animal Control. An antitrust lawsuit against the company RealPage has now been amended to include larger property companies. We told you about the lawsuit back in August when our state joined with the Justice Department to sue RealPage. That's a real estate software company that uses an algorithm to suggest rental prices for companies. Well, now 6 of the largest property development companies in the country have been added to this suit, and 3 of them, Graystar, Pinnacle, and Willow Bridge, operate here in Connecticut. The suit alleges they used RealPage and traded sensitive customer information to fix rental prices. The government argues that's anti-competitive behavior and it is illegal.
Effectively, a price-fixing scheme to make sure that people pay the maximum amount for rent for an apartment in Connecticut and across the country when they're getting crushed by the cost of housing, where they're getting crushed by the cost of an apartment, when it's busting and wrecking household budgets, and they're getting screwed.
There are now 10 states in this lawsuit.
Now to some political news. Tomorrow marks the start of the 2025 legislative session.
Elected officials in the State House and Senate will be sworn in at 10 a.m. Governor Lamont will address both chambers at noon. And this year, lawmakers have to iron out a budget.
Fox 61's political reporter Emma Wolfhorse is here in studio with more. Emma.
Bridget, Brent, every other session, so in odd years here, the legislature is tasked with crafting the state's two-year budget. It's a long process which unfolds over the coming months, but what can we expect, and what are some of the conversations state lawmakers and officials will be having? Let's break it down.
Our priorities and long-term goals and long-term responsibilities, all of that gets tied up in our state budget.
Creating and crafting the state budget is one of the most important things the legislature and governor do. It sets the tone and the priorities for where the state is headed.
Thanks to the reforms within the 2017 budget, we have taken Connecticut from a permanent fiscal crisis to its best financial health in a very long time.
Those 2017 reforms known as the fiscal guardrails. That's a term we've heard a lot over the past two sessions and will continue to be the center of discussions this year. The guardrails put in place are a spending cap, revenue cap, and a volatility cap. The revenue cap forces spending within our means. It ensures a cushion between revenue collected and what can be spent. The volatility cap requires $3.15 billion or more put aside to pay down pension debt from specific volatile types of revenue. Now these reforms have more than done their job. The comptroller's office projects a nearly $179 million surplus for the state, and there's already a battle shaping up to get a piece of that funding. Nonprofits and social services, Connecticut's colleges and universities, the child care industry, and more are all vying for a drop of the historic rainy day fund. This has led many state lawmakers to get behind possible changes to the guardrails, but state Republicans and Governor Lamont have cautioned against that. Flexibility or tweaks are possible this session as support grows, and Governor Lamont is yet to voice his latest stance in his State of the State.
Find a way to continue our fiscal progress while also doing more to meet the needs of the people of Connecticut and make sure that the people of Connecticut are sharing and feeling the state's fiscal progress.
And the governor is expected to tease some of these fiscal priorities in his State of the State address tomorrow at noon, but he'll present his full budget proposal to the legislature next month. After that, lawmakers will draft their own budget proposal, and a combination of both will come together to form a final version, which will then be passed by the end of the session in June. Bridget, Brent.
All right, Emma, thank you. And you can text the number on your screen with the keyword Day 1 to get a link sent directly to you with everything you need to know as the session begins. There you'll find information about your lawmakers, how to contact them, and all the new laws we are tracking.